الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلي وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So this chapter, al-Qur'anu shifa. The Qur'an is a healing. وقد أخبر سبحانه عن القرآن أنه شفاء. فقال تعالى: ولو جعلناه قرآنا عجميا لقالوا لولا فصلت آياته عجمي وعربي قل هو للذين آمنوا هدى وشفاء. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if we had made this Qur'an into a foreign language, they would say, wouldn't you have made it clear, make the ayat, the verses clear, a foreign language or Arabic? And Allah says, say this is for those who believe, huda and shifa, a guidance and a healing. Allah is calling the Qur'an. ومن هنا لبيان الجنس لا للتبعيد فإن القرآن كله شفاء كما قال في الآية المتقدمة فهو شفاء للقلوب من داء الجهل والشك والريب فلم ينزل الله سبحانه وتعالى من السماء شفاء قط أعم ولا أنفع ولا أعظم ولا أنجع في إزالة داء من القرآن. And so he went into a little technical point in the Arabic language saying how that Allah says, وَنَزْلَ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, we have revealed some of the Qur'an as a shifa. But min here is like just basically saying, it's just a grammatical point that not just part of the Qur'an, but the whole Qur'an is shifa. Every part of the Qur'an is shifa and a guidance. Right? This is what the Imam is explaining. And he said, there's no greater guidance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down from the heavens that is more beneficial and greater and more complete in taking away the sickness than the Qur'an. وقد ثبت في الصحيحين من حديث أبي سعيد قال انطلق نفر من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في سفرة سافروها حتى نزلوا على حي من أحياء العرب فاستضافوهم فأبوا أن يضيفوهم فلدغ السيد ذلك الحي فسعوا له بكل شيء لا ينفعه شيء فقال بعضهم لو أتيتم هؤلاء الرهط الذين نزلوا لعله أن يكون عند بعضهم شيء فأتوهم فقالوا يا أيها الرهط إن سيدنا لدغ وسعينا له بكل شيء لا ينفعه شيء فهل عند أحدكم أو أحد منكم من شيء فقال بعضهم والله إني لأرقي ولكن والله لقد استضفناكم فلم تضيفونا فما أنا براق لكم حتى تجعلوا لي جعلا فصالحوهم على قطعه من الغنم فانطلق يتنفل أو يتفل عليه ويقرأ الحمد لله رب العالمين فكأنما نشط من العقال فانطلق يمشي وما به قلبة فأوفوهم جعلهم الذي صالحوهم عليه فقال بعضهم اقتسموا فقال الذي رق لا نفعل حتى نأتي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فتذكر له الذي كان فننتظر ما يأمرنا قدموا على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فذكر له ذلك فقال وما يدريكم أنها رقية ثم قال قد أصبتم اقتسموا واضربوا لي معكم سهما. So to summarize the story, some of the Sahaba, they were on a travel and they went to like a neighborhood of the Arabs and they asked them if they would take them in as guests, because that's the way of the Arabs in general. And they refused, which is a very big disgrace at the time. So the Sahaba just went on it trying to find another place. And then they had the leader of their tribe. He was stung by a scorpion, and he asked for everything in the tribe that they tried everything, but there was no cure for his pain. So they said, why don't we go ask these people? Maybe they know something that can help heal our leader. So they ran after them and said, we have our leader. He was stung by a scorpion and he's very sick. Do you have something that can cure him? And they said, we can do the ruqya basically, but I'm not going to do it unless you give us something, because we came there as guests and you refused us to give us our right as a guest, so you got to pay me something if I'm going to do this service for you. So they said, okay, we'll give you some sheep or whatever if you can heal him. So they went back and they read Surah Al-Fatiha on him, and he was healed like nothing had happened to him before, right? And they said, give us our money. So they took their recompensation from them, or their compensation from them, and they went back. They said, let's split this up amongst each other. And they said, no, not until we ask the Prophet ﷺ if it's okay. And then they went to the Prophet and they asked, and he said, asabtum, basically you achieved the right answer. You did the good thing. You did it right, and split it with me. So the shares that they got, because the Prophet ﷺ, he taught them in the beginning. But more importantly, like the Prophet ﷺ didn't need any money, obviously, but when he does something, he does it for the sake of legislation, right? So this is to teach us that it's okay to take compensation for ruqyah, or even some scholars say for teaching the Qur'an, right? That's why the Prophet ﷺ does certain things sometimes, not because he needs it or he wants it, but just to show the ummah that it's allowable, right? So in this ayah, or in this hadith, they're showing how the Qur'an is a shifa, how it literally healed this person reciting it. فقد آثر هذا الدواء في هذا الداء وأزاله حتى كأنه لم يكن وهو أسهل دواء وأيسره ولو أحسن العبد التداوي بالفاتحة لرأى لها تأثيرا عجيبا في الشفاء. And he said, so this medicine had an effect upon the sickness, and it took away his sickness as if there was no sickness before. And this is one of the easiest medicines a person can use. And if a servant really knew how to heal himself or heal people with the Qur'an, with the Fatiha, they would see that it has an incredible effect in healing. And then he goes on to say, وَمَكَثْتُ بِمَكَّةٍ مُدَّةً يَعْتَرِنِي أَدْوَاء وَلَا أَجِدُ طَبِيبًا وَلَا دَوَاءً فكنت أعالج نفسي بالفاتحة فأرى لها تأثيرا عجيبا فكنت أصف ذلك لمن يشتكي ألما فكان كثير منهم يبرأ سريعا. So he said, I was in Mecca for some time, staying there, and he got sick basically with a bunch of different things. Ibn Qayyim is talking about himself. So he said he cured himself with the Fatiha, and he found it like incredible, mashallah, cure. And also other people had some ailments, and he read upon them the Fatiha and cured them as well. So this is the shifa of the Qur'an, right? It has a shifa for the spiritual and even for the physical, if you knew how to use it. And we'll get into that in the next session, inshallah, because it goes into explaining, how the effect of the Qur'an is upon different people, and like how much iman you have to have, in order for it to be effective, etc. But I just thought it might be nice to talk about some of the benefits of the Qur'an, inshallah. And inshallah, like I also, just to make a point, the brilliance of this Imam, after he starts off saying that the cure of ignorance is asking the question, right? And then we went into the details about seeking knowledge and how to seek knowledge and the benefits of knowledge. And then he starts the first thing after that, al-Qur'an shifa. Like he's kind of indicating in a sense that the best form of knowledge you can start with or take is the Qur'an. It's the literal words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's not like any other book or compilation. Like if you look any books of law that's out there, any other normal books, there's no comparison. The Qur'an is unique in its way that it's ordered, in its compilation, and the way the message is sent to us. Any other legal book, if you read it, you get bored with it. But the Qur'an, it's like you never get bored with it. The more you read it, the more you understand it, the more you want to learn more, and the more you want to read it more. It's a guide for us to good, and it keeps us away from evil. As Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he said, when you hear Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, listen closely, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to either give you some good that He will guide you to, or some evil that you can stay away from. Also, every single thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to do in the Qur'an, or to stay away from, or forbids us from, is for our own benefit, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't need anything from us, and we need everything from Him. When we say Allah Azza wa Jal is Al-Alimul Hakim in many ayat, right? Al-Alim, He knows everything. يَعْلَمُ مَا كَانَ وَمَا كَائِن وَمَا سَيَكُنْ وَمَا لَمْ يَكُنْ لَوْ كَانَ كَيْفَ يَكُنْ. He knows everything that was, and everything that is, and everything that will be, and everything that wasn't, if it was, how it will be. Al-Alim. And then Al-Hakim, He knows how to put everything in its proper place. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He legislates something for us in the Qur'an, He knows it's best for us. If He prohibits something, He knows it's evil for us. He is Alimul Hakim. And most importantly, these are His words. These are the words of your Creator. His literal words, speaking to you. You know, many people wish that Allah can talk to me or God can talk to me. Allah is talking to us in the Qur'an. Those are His words. If you would only ponder upon them and read. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Won't they ponder upon the Qur'an? أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ أَقْفَالُهَا. Or are their hearts sealed? If you have a problem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the answers in the Qur'an. Right? If you're feeling down, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will lift you up with the Qur'an. If you're feeling alone, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you company with the Qur'an. Like I was in not many, but some situations, subhanAllah, in need of some companionship, so to say, like completely alone, alhamdulillah. But I had the Qur'an and I didn't feel it at all, alhamdulillah. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy for me. So we should try and always strive to make the Qur'an our companion and make it close to our hearts, you know, to ponder the words of our Lord. We always hear in the Qur'an or in the Khutbat al-Haja, you know, the Imam in Salat al-Jum'ah, when the Imam starts, he says what? Khairul kalam, kalam Allah. The best of speech is the book of Allah or the words of Allah. Right? And in another narration, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, فضل كلام الله على غيره كفضل الله على خلقه. That the benefit of the Qur'an over other speech is like the benefit of Allah Azza wa Jal over His creation. This is the book of Allah, the greatest book on earth, and it's between our hands, and how many of us take advantage of it? Some of the fadail of the Qur'an, there are many, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the fadail of the Qur'an in the Qur'an itself, mentioning the great rewards of it and how it is in the people of those who fear Him in their hearts, and how the pious react to the Qur'an when they hear it, right? And the Prophet ﷺ, there's many ahadith about it. For example, Ahlul Qur'ani, Ahlullahi wa khasatihi. The people of the Qur'an are the people of Allah and His chosen ones. The more Qur'an you have, the more you are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you are from, they say, like the family of Allah, or the close ones to Allah. اقرأوا القرآن فإنه يأتي يوم القيامة شفيعا لأصحابه. Read the Qur'an, for it will come as an intercessor for you on the day of judgment. All these are ahadith from the Prophet ﷺ. يقال لصاحب القرآن اقرأ وارتقي ورتل كما كنت ترتل في الدنيا فإن منزلك عند آخر آية تقرأها. Read, like it will say to the person of the Qur'an, read and recite and raise up in ranks as you used to recite in the dunya, for you will reach the level and where you stop reading. So the more Qur'an you memorize, the higher level you will be in the hereafter. Another narration, ما اجتمع قوم في بيت من بيوت الله يتلون كتاب الله ويتدارسونه فيما بينهم إلا نزلت عليهم السكينة وغشيتهم الرحمة وحفتهم الملائكة وذكرهم الله في من عنده. A people don't gather together into one of the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala studying the book of Allah between them, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put down upon them peacefulness and cover them with His mercy, and the angels will surround them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remember them to those around Allah. What greater honor than that? Having sakina and rahmah and malaika, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remember you. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من قرأ حرفا من كتاب الله فله به حسنة والحسنة بعشر أمثالها لا أقول ألف لام ميم حرف ولكن ألف حرف ولام حرف وميم حرف. That the Prophet ﷺ said, every letter of the Qur'an is a blessing. Every letter you read from the Qur'an is a blessing. And every blessing is 10 rewards. And I don't say that alif, lam, mim is one thing, but alif is a reward, and lam is a reward, and mim is a reward. 10, 10, 10. 30 hasana just to say alif, lam, mim. Imagine saying, when you say Bismillah, 70 hasana, 70 rewards. Imagine reading a whole page of the Qur'an. Imagine reading a juz of the Qur'an. Imagine reading the whole Qur'an. How many hasana and blessings you get, right? And the more you read it and you understand it, the more you benefit from it and the more blessings you get. So not just to read it like any other book, but to read it with tadabbur and understanding and knowing that it's a form of ibadah, a form of worship. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّ مِنْ إِجْلَالِ اللَّهِ إِكْرَامِ ذِي شَيْبَةِ الْمُسْلِمِ وحامل القرآن غير غال فيه والجافي عنه وإكرام ذي سلطان المقسط. That from إجلال الله, respecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to respect the elderly people in Islam, the one who got gray in Islam, and the Hamalat al-Qur'an, and the one who has memorized the Qur'an, and who is not like showing off or negligent of the Qur'an's rules and regulations. From Ijlalillahi, honoring Allah is honoring these type of people, and the just ruler as well. And I can keep going on and on, but for time's sake, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, they said that the person of the Qur'an will come on the day of judgment and have a crown of honor placed upon his head for memorizing the Qur'an. And some narrations say that his parents will have the crown placed upon their heads because of the honor of their child memorizing the whole Qur'an. And the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَرْفَعُ بِهَذَا الْكِتَابِ أَقْوَامًا وَيُضِيعُ بِهِ آخَرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will lift up people with this book, with the Qur'an, and He will put down others. So it's a way to being raised in ranks, and it's also a way to be disgraced if a person turns away from it.
Have the scholars ever reached like a point of satiation when it comes to reading the Quran? Like they felt like they understood it wholly at some point in their lives?
Allahu Alam, like sister asked if any scholar gets satiated with thinking that they understand everything in the Qur'an, or they've reached a high enough level. And to my knowledge, no scholar will ever say that, because there's always something new you can learn from the Qur'an. It's a miracle. That's one of the miracles too of the Qur'an. Like if you look at all the different tafsir, you always find something new. There's been hundreds, maybe thousands, tens of thousands maybe of tafsir, explanations of the Qur'an, and they're all very unique. Always they're coming up with something new, subhanAllah. So that's the miracle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's sent. That's why it's the final revelation that's to us. So we never become satiated. And then the more you get used to reciting it and understanding it and studying it, the easier it becomes for you and the more you learn, right? So like I said earlier, sometimes shaitan will come and try to make the path to knowledge difficult for you, make you get bored for it, make you get tired of it. But no, always be continuous. Keep striving to learn this book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't give up, And like the Prophet ﷺ said, أَحَبُّ الْأَعْمَالُ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَدْوَمُهَا وَإِنْ قَلَّ. The best or most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are done continuously, even if they're little. So be continuous is more important than doing a lot. Like some people might come and try to read the whole Qur'an in a couple of days, and they haven't even been used to reading one juz a day, for example. That's too much, So you should be building yourself up little by little, inshallah. Take the time, have patience and understanding, and build yourself slowly but surely. Like the Prophet ﷺ said about the man trying to cross the desert with the camel too quickly, that no desert did he cross, and then he didn't even leave his animal because the animal died from being pushed too hard through its limits. So the same thing, you want to take it step by step and build your knowledge, and every day or every week or every month increase little by little. Inshallah, it becomes easier and easier for you. Like I know people personally that finish the Qur'an in 2 rak'ats. Like my roommate in Medina, mashallah, he's from Nigeria. He memorized the whole Qur'an when he was a little kid. So, like, I guess they had some type of competition with each other from Nigeria, like who can read more. So him and his friend, after Salat al-Isha, went and prayed in the Masjid of Nabawi in the Prophet's Mosque until almost Fajr. They just recited the whole Qur'an. I was like, mashallah. I don't know if that's the point, but alhamdulillah, this person can do that. Because I read many stories of the Salaf, how some of them used to do khatm of the Qur'an, like every day or every couple of days and stuff like that. And I wondered about it, and then subhanAllah, I saw it like for real. This is a very good brother. I know he was telling me the truth, alhamdulillah. He's not trying to show off or anything, but I was his roommate, and I was like, mashallah, you kind of late today, brother. And he told me what happened, and mashallah, so it's possible. And it's like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts barakah in your time, in your efforts. The more you get closer to Him, right? The more you're able to read and the more you're able to understand, And the Sahaba in general, a lot of them would complete the Qur'an on a weekly basis. And they divided the Qur'an into 7 parts. So each day they would read one of those parts. The easy way to remember is like the first 3 big surahs, then the next 5, the next 7, the next 9, and 11. How many did I get now? 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and then Qaf until the end. So that's how they divided the Qur'an for them. So that's a good way, inshallah, to reach it. But like I said, start with 1 juz a day or even less, whatever you can, but be consistent in it and build slowly but surely, inshallah. طيب, let's, inshallah, we'll wrap it up. MashaAllah, I have like pages and pages of just a hadith about the fadl of the Qur'an and its blessings. Inshallah, anybody can go and look them up online. But another main point to remember is, like we said earlier, al-Qur'an hujjatan laka aw alayka, that the Qur'an is a witness for you or against you, right? So the more you read and understand the Qur'an, the more responsibility you have. It'll be a witness for you or against you. If you know the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you intentionally break it, it'll be a witness against you. But if you know the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you follow it and you implement it and you call others to it, it'll be a witness for you. Right? And just a reminder for myself and the brothers, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah allow us to live to make it, but Ramadan is coming very close, and that's Shahr al-Qur'an. Right? So it's a very good time to take advantage of getting closer to Allah and being a companion of His book, of the Qur'an. Some of the scholars, they say that Rajab is a time of planting the seed, and Shawwal is a time for watering it, and Ramadan is a time to reap the rewards or the benefits or the fruits. So from now, this is the last day of Rajab, which means there's only 1 month left to Ramadan. Start from now to make your niyyah to get yourself prepared for this beautiful month. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they used to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for 6 months of the year that they would reach Ramadan, and then after Ramadan they would make the rest of the year they would make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept from them Ramadan. It's a special time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for us to get closer to Him, to abstain. It's teaching us a lesson. If we abstain from these things that are halal for us, then we should be able to abstain from those things that are haram. Right? Ayyam and ma'dudat. It goes by so quickly. We always remember how we start Ramadan, the first night of Tarweeh, and then subhanAllah, just so quickly, like a blink of an eye, we're in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, and then it's over. Right? So start preparing from now, getting into that zone, that spiritual zone, to allow us to make this month and reap its rewards. Do some extra fasting if you can this month to get your body used to it again. Start making the Qur'an schedule for yourselves that you read each day, and then try to increase it when you get to Ramadan, inshaAllah. And try to, if you have bad habits, try to stay away from those bad habits. If you have some character flaws, try to work on those. Put yourself some goals. Now that I want to work on this until Ramadan, and this is what I want to achieve in Ramadan. Right? So we say, رشهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم. So Shahr Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, is when the Qur'an was revealed as a guidance for the people, and al-Furqan, which is a criterion to distinguish between right and wrong. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. We revealed this book in Laylatul Qadr. So this is the month of the Qur'an, and it's a very beneficial time for us to get closer to Allah and closer to His book. So I just wanted to give brief advice for myself and my brothers and sisters, inshallah, to, now that we're talking about the Qur'an and the shifa of the Qur'an, to make the Qur'an part of our lives and get closer to Allah, and even more so in the month of Ramadan, and carry forward after that, inshaAllah. So we'll pause here, and if there's any questions, أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروا الغفور الرحيم. Inshallah, we can open the door for the brother. You had a question?
Yeah.
طيب, so if everybody didn't hear, the brother's asking in summary, how can you protect yourself from corrupted knowledge or incorrect knowledge? And the best way, of course, is taking from the authentic sources and being familiar with the authentic sources of the Qur'an and the Sahih Sunnah, and asking those of knowledge that you trust, that are known to be from the Qur'an and Sunnah, and to call to the righteous ways. Right? There are certain people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a light to, and they're known in the community of which way they follow, to ask them for advice. For example, if you hear something that's questionable to you, because a lot of these, like you could say, corruptible people that are on a way that's different from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has legislated in His book, or the Prophet ﷺ has taught us in clear manners, you can find, like, it doesn't sit well in the heart of the believer. Like if you hear someone disparaging our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, and she was the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, and one of his most beloved wives, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's something that you're going to be like, wait, it doesn't sound right to me, and you go and ask somebody and they'll clarify it, or if they tell you, something, I don't know, like, go stand on your head and do 10 takbirah or something, like weird stuff, like, or go jump up and down and 10,000 times until you pass out by saying such and such, or just something that it just doesn't sit right with you, and alhamdulillah, that's like an indication that maybe you should go and ask and check and verify before you do it. So like, alhamdulillah, the Qur'an is very clear and the Sunnah is very clear, and we have scholars of the Ummah from the time of the Prophet ﷺ into our time that have taught in a very clear manner. So, the more you study and the more you realize, it will be kind of natural for you to distinguish between the right and the wrong. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ فُرْقَانًا. Whoever fears Allah, Allah will give him a furqan, to distinguish between the right and the wrong. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ يُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. Fear Allah and Allah will teach you. If you're sincere in your heart and you're truly trying to seek knowledge and please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will protect you and guide you to the right way. That's how a lot of the predecessors, they said, like, one of the greatest ni'mas after Islam is being guided to a good scholar that will show him the right way. So hopefully that was sufficient, inshallah. And then also, one has to be careful too, like, there's permissible differences amongst Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, and there's differences that are not permissible. So sometimes you might see the scholars in disagreement, or you might see different opinions, for example. This is not the sense that that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about when it's like contradicting the usul of Iman, or usul of Qur'an, or usul of Sunnah, and going against the ways of the pious predecessors and the four Imams, for example, and the scholars of the Ummah from the time of the Prophet ﷺ until now. So if you see like Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Abu Hanifa, or other scholars differed, for example, in certain things, you won't find they differed in the usul of the deen. They might have differed in the masail. So also, like, you got to distinguish, like some, a brother disagrees with you for how to make salat, for example, or a certain fiqh issue. You don't like, oh, you're, off the manhaj, or you're a deviant or something like that. There's allowable differences, and then there's differences that are not allowable. So what we're talking about in terms of corrupting knowledge is those that are contradicting the clear text of the Qur'an and the Sunnah, and the ways of the scholar and ijma' of the Ummah.
2 questions, if that's okay. The first one is, which book of tafsir, like out of the many, would you recommend that's one, like, extremely informative yet easy to digest and understand for like a beginner?
I think Ibn Kathir is a good work to start with. There's like smaller tafsirs, so some say it's Tafsir Jalalain, that's like a very like basic explanation of the Qur'an, and then others after that they go to Tafsir Ibn Kathir or Tafsir al-Baghawi, and then after that they go to Tafsir Qurtubi, and then Tafsir Tabari, right? But if you just had like one to choose from, there's summarized versions of Ibn Kathir, which are good to start with, or Ibn Kathir itself is a very good book to start with.
And my second question is, what's the difference between wajibat al-salat and arkan al-salat?
So, arkan al-salat is those things, if you miss them, then your salat is invalid. Even sujood al-sahu will not make up for it, right? So, for example, can anybody give me an example of a arkan of salat if you miss it? Takbirat al-ihram, the first takbir, right? Or the fatiha, or sujood, or ruku'. You know, if you miss any of these arkan, your salat is invalid. You have to do it over, that rak'ah over, for your salat to be sahih. Al-wajib, if you miss it intentionally, your salat is invalid. However, if you miss it out of forgetfulness, the two sujood of forgetfulness makes up for it, right? That's how the scholars distinguish between the rukn and the wajib. And then you have the sunan of the salat too. So it's important to know these because this is something we do, 5 times a day, at least, right? We have to get that right. And also how we mentioned earlier, the shahada, knowing the requirements of the shahada, then the salat, zakat, siyam, and hajj. These are the basics that every Muslim should try their best to learn. Wallahu a'lam. Any more questions? Or I'll talk to the brother Muhammad and sister Aisha maybe. Maybe we could try to do it like on a weekly basis so we could get through the book, inshallah, if it's possible with the scheduling. I would like to do that, inshallah. So yeah, after Ramadan, I'm hoping to travel like soon, inshallah. That's why I have to pause now. But inshallah, as soon as I get back, or after Ramadan, we will continue on this book, inshallah, try to finish it and then start another book. So, who memorized the hadith again from last time? ما أنزل الله داء إلا أنزل الله له شفاء. Allah didn't send down a sickness except that He sent with it its cure. Right? And then the other one we said, it was an extra credit one, but you can pick it up for this time. Dawa'ul ay as-su'al. The cure or the medicine for ignorance is the question, seeking knowledge. Right? And then this time we can memorize the ayat. You guys all know Surah al-Qadr, I hope, alhamdulillah, for the Qur'an. And then the ayat in Surah al-Baqarah if you want. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. This ayat, or the other one, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Qur'an is a shifa, if you want, for extra credit. It's in the book that was sent out. Everybody wants to go back and look at it, inshallah. And I wish you all, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us all reach the month of Ramadan and accept it from us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to teach us that which will benefit us and benefit us with that which He has taught us. Allahumma alimna bima yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima alimtana wa zidna ilma. Allahumma ballaghna shahra Ramadan wa taqabbal minna ya arhamar rahimin. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروا الغفور الرحيم. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير.